Hello, and welcome to the third lecture in our Infectious Disease and Infection plus Epidemiology lecture series. Here we're going to talk about the chain of infection, and basically it just describes how we can get sick and all the shortcomings and pitfalls that we have in getting sick or preventing us from getting sick that we have in place. Alright, so first things up is portal of entry. These may seem kind of second nature, so kind of just take these in and kind of read them over. But this is how it can come into the body and how you can get sick. You can breathe it in, you can eat it. Parenteral, okay, is a word you're going to want to know. The parenteral route is a word that you will want to know. And it is the direct introduction of pathogens into the bloodstream. Okay, so needle stick injuries, transfusions. All right, so parenteral route is not the oral route, and it's not from your parents either. Okay, don't get that confused. You can have the skin, you can have a skin abrasion, and it can also get in through the genitourinary system. It can even get in through your eyes too, believe it or not. Okay, and we have the portal of entry, and then here we have the basically the susceptible host and pathogen. Okay, so you need to have a susceptible host, someone who can get sick. Okay, so what does that mean? It needs to be the right species, it needs to be the right organism, and then finally, if it is human infection disease, then it needs to be in a human that doesn't have a good immune system that will defend against it. Okay, so usually the elderly or the young or someone immune compromised. Okay, so that's a susceptible host. And then the pathogen, you can imagine how a pathogen can be a pathogen. It's through these virulence factors that we kind of mentioned. Okay, ETEC we mentioned already has that heat labile toxin, and that's actually what you're going to search for. You're going to, oh, if that's a toxin, that's a protein that does work. I can look at that and see if E. coli has that. If it does, then that would describe his symptoms. Check, got it. Okay. Anthrax also has some toxins. Okay, anthrax is highly lethal, very, very toxin heavy. Vibrio cholera likely gave some of this heat labile toxin to E. coli through a plasmid that we learned about. Plasmid. We learned about those in our DNA Tech lecture. Okay, and then Listeria also has a toxin as well. And all of these are designed to either make us sick, to immunocompromise us, or to even enable it to escape destruction. Okay, so virulence factors that we have go a long way in helping that. Okay, then we go to reservoirs. Reservoirs make sense. Reservoirs are where you kind of hold the pathogen until you give it off. Okay, so it can be in a body, can be in an animal, and we can get it from a bat or a bird, or we can get it from the environment. Okay, and so this picture kind of shows that readily. You can get it from a bat, bird, cuts, and mosquitoes, and arboviruses, and arbo diseases. And then you can even have Vibrio cholera come from infected water sources. In fact, that's what's dangerous after like earthquakes and floods and stuff is the bacteria in the water sources. And then if you get it, you gotta get it out. Okay, same ways mostly. Respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract. This way it's the colon instead of the mouth. Genitourinary tract, just like before, skin, and this time blood instead of parenteral. Okay, but we can give it out to a biting insect onto a needle. Many different ways to do that. Okay, getting it out, and then we even have some transmission. Okay, back before we get to our portal of entry. Okay, so we've gone from entry to the host and the pathogen with the virulence factors, the reservoirs, the exit, and now we need to transmit it. We can have direct contact or respiratory droplets. Both of those are direct, okay? One person giving it to another, okay? Sexual contact, kissing, just touching hands, all that stuff. Breathing onto another, that is a direct way of transmission. Indirect is indirect contact. Maybe I touch a doorknob with it, okay, and then rub my face. Okay, maybe I take a shower without shoes, get athlete's foot, right? Right. Airborne, meaning it's in the air. Okay, you can't really do much against that except avoid those places, wear a mask maybe. But if it's airborne, it's airborne. Staying 6 feet apart won't help. Okay, and the difference between respiratory droplet and airborne, airborne is on dust particles. Respiratory droplets are literal water molecules from a lung. Okay, so slightly different. It won't come up to be a confusing question, but just know that airborne isn't direct contact. Okay, and then vector-borne is another way of indirect contact, but we've talked about vectors a lot now. Arboviruses, arbobacteria, and arthropods versus just mosquitoes, right? Because of mites. Okay, and then we also want to know that there are diseases that cross the placenta, okay? All right, so regardless of a bug biting mom or what she ate, we do know that no matter what happens, that the placenta is also a source of infection too, from the mother in the placenta, and we even have a handy dandy term, storch, to know which diseases can cross into the placenta. So someone in the NICU would definitely know which diseases are which. Okay, and with that, we'll get into normal microbiota and a few other things before epidemiology.